As is traditional, we do a greeting from, thank you, close the door, good man. We do a greeting from the Canadian ambassador in Ireland and the Irish ambassador in Canada. So the Irish ambassador in Canada, as you know, Eamonn McKee is also finishing up his post, and but he's recorded a piece for us, which we're going to play now. And then also he's done a recent piece about the famine and the work they're doing in Canada with the famine shoes, which I was a really nice piece. So they asked us to show that as well. So we'll show that as well. So we'll run those two pieces, and then we'll be inviting Nancy to do the greeting from the Canadian side here.
Okay. Greetings, Leonard, all your guests, your amazing support team, and a special shout out to my dear colleague and friend Nancy Smythe, Ambassador of Canada to Ireland. Both Nancy and I finish up this year, so it's our last formal engagement with Valentia Island on this great project on the lecture series indeed. But I know for both of us, it's been a hugely enriching experience. I think it's still astonishing to me that they managed to drop a cable in 1866 and unite the world in terms of telecommunications. Hugely significant then, really significant today, and it really does deserve to be commemorated and honoured as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I commend everybody involved in this amazing project, and I look forward to supporting it in any way that I can over the years to come. I think Nancy and I would both say the same thing. It's been hugely enriching to be involved in this project. It's certainly not just a project for both Ireland and Canada to be involved in, but it's literally a physical link between us, and hugely significant for all of that. I'm really glad to say that relations between Ireland and Newfoundland took a step up. Last May, we had the Marine Institute's research vessel, the Celtic Explorer, land in St. John's with 15 bronze shoes, part of our extension of the Global Irish Famine Way. It was a really significant event. We had a wonderful service. And Newfoundland is, in fact, the starting point for the Global Irish Famine Way. That famine way would stretch through Canada, the United States, Argentina, South Africa, and Australia. And when it's complete, it will stretch 40,000 kilometres, reflecting the journey of 2 million Irish immigrants around the world. Many of them, of course, would have come from the southwest, indeed from all parts of Ireland. But their journey, thanks to the cable itself, to the revolution in telecommunications, means that they were able to stay in touch with their families in a way hitherto undreamt of. So for that and for all of the other reasons, I wish you all the best for your event, and I hope maybe in future years I can attend in person. So go Horgus, go Míle Maithugad, and take care, everyone.
Today we're taking the bronze shoes off the Celtic Explorer, which is the Irish Marine Institute's research vessel. It has crossed the Atlantic from Galway over the past week and arrived here in St. John's. The bronze shoes are going to be part of an Irish heritage trail called the Global Irish Famine Way, and we're launching it here in St. John's. It represents the journey, symbolically, of Irish famine immigrants from 1847 who crossed the Atlantic for a new life in Canada. At the time, Ireland was suffering from a catastrophic famine between 1845 and 1851, which reduced our population by 1 million through death and disease, another million by emigration, and within 10 years, the population had dropped by 3 million, setting up essentially the world's Irish diaspora. The shoes came on the vessel because we wanted to recreate that voyage symbolically, and we're really delighted with this cooperation, and it's created a good bit of excitement about the project itself. Eventually, the Global Irish Famine Way will be not only in Canada. We're looking to set it up in the United States, South Africa, and Australia, as far as Tasmania. That's where the Irish famine immigrants went. And so we will make it the world's largest heritage trail.
One of the things that I think historians like myself are aware of is that the paper trail that we used to leave for people to explore their roots, their heritage, and the past of their country or their family is just not the kind of thing that resonates or communicates with a people like art, like film, and like other media. And so what the Famine Trail does is it takes all of this research and it places it in a very tangible, and easily accessible way for people to understand this particular event, the Great Irish Famine from 1845 to 1852, but also will help touch people and perhaps inspire them to look into their own family histories.
Today we're going to proceed up to the rooms to put the shoes for St. John's there overnight. We'll have a reception for the crew and for the Irish community here. And then tomorrow we're going to have a service of gratitude and remembrance at the Basilica, because the response of the Canadians to the Irish famine immigrants in 1847 was absolutely tremendous. This is not just about history, this is about a universal message, about giving hope through compassion and opportunity, success through opportunity to the stranger on your shore, and that's a universal message today.
That's great to hear Ambassador McKee speaking there, and thanks very much again for this invitation to return for, yes, the 4th time. So if you've had 8, I guess that means I've been to half of them. So that's not a bad record. I didn't get the joke you made earlier. I think I'd have to be Irish and know more about sports. So you can explain that to me later, what was behind that. But as you mentioned, Leonard, I mean, really this event comes on the heels of quite a recent visit by Newfoundland Minister of Tourism, Culture, Arts and Recreation, Minister Steve Crockett, who led the delegation here to Ireland and visited this beautiful community just last month. We had the opportunity to have that delegation come to the Embassy of Canada in Dublin. It was wonderful for me as a Canadian to meet the Canadians that I've seen here on the screen, but had not yet had a chance to meet in person. So that was a first time for me, but I can say they were just truly inspired and they were really energized by the visit here. And you can see there's nothing that can replace that in-person connection that gets made and that building of that relationship. And I want to say also, in addition to kind of that visit, that it's been really exciting to see over the course of the time that I've been here, Ireland add Valentia, as was mentioned earlier, to the tentative list. So Canada had added Heart's Content in 2017. This was one of 8 sites that Canada has added to the tentative list for the World Heritage Site for eventual consideration. But it really is unique, as we were talking about earlier, in terms of being a transboundary World Heritage nomination. We currently have 2 transboundary sites with the US, but these happened a long time ago in 1979 and in 1995. So that was a long time ago, really. The process really isn't comparable. And there's certainly not an ocean or 3,500 kilometers in between. So I think that sets the ambition at the right level. And thanks for mentioning what I think you've referred to in the past, the Black Belt. You mentioned there's 5 in Newfoundland, so there's 20 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Canada overall. And they really represent the best that we have to offer. And so since I'm here, I'll give a plug and say I hope all of you here will get a chance to visit as many of those sites as you can at some time when you come to visit us in Canada. And I might just also say, we've been talking about some of the parties to this, but just to say I'm in touch now and then. Every time that I come to this, I remind my colleagues in Parks Canada that this event continues and what that ambition is and what the drive and the interests are. Parks Canada is what we call our Canadian State Party representative to the UNESCO World Heritage Convention. And as part of the greeting, I mean, certainly to say that those colleagues that are at the federal level really look forward to continuing to work with the province of Newfoundland and Labrador and with the government of Ireland, as well as, of course, Kerry County Council as you advance this nomination. And so, as Minister Crocker said to us and Assistant Deputy Minister Jerry Osborne, who is well known to this community from Newfoundland, there's really a sense of starting to see some tangible progress on the UNESCO World Heritage nomination. And so last summer's Irish delegation visit to Heart's Content, which some of you in this room participated in, and then the recent visit here, I think those have really acted as key catalysts in these developments. But I think also worth mentioning, in addition to the World Heritage progress, is really this success which was spoken about earlier around reconnecting the communities and that friendship that is building in Heart's Content and Valentia, and really for the first time in a very long time. And that it's been really impressive to hear about some of those community-based projects that are under discussion and under development. Maybe we're going to hear a little bit more about that, that I think are really separate from the nomination process, but in many ways, this community reconnection is really one of the key objectives from the Canadian point of view and the Newfoundland point of view in terms of what that means. So I'll just close by really commending and encouraging, of course, as I would, the further work the County Council, Kerry, Province of Newfoundland, as this work continues in the coming years, bringing forward the nomination for review. That's important, has to be reviewed still on both of our sides, and then submission by Canada and Ireland, ideally, of the transatlantic cable ensemble. Isn't that a great title for a project? I think somebody has to do some kind of musical performance or something to this ensemble. I may know a few people. But, and some of them might have appeared on this very stage showing their musical talent. So I just really want to thank this wonderful, beautiful community of Valentia and the members of the foundation board and all of the officials and the sponsors and really the community members here who have been so warm and so hospitable, and for the ambition that you've shown and for the friendship that you've shown to me on a personal level. And I think, just to come back to what Ambassador Eamonn McKee said, this is really much more than a project, and it is a friendship. And I think, as Cahorlach Butamar said, we just are such natural partners. So best wishes to the project as you go forward. And yeah, thanks again for welcoming me back so warmly, and I will keep close tabs on this one.
Again, Nancy, can't thank you enough for not just your hospitality in coming to visit us, but also Nancy being very generous in inviting us to events in Dublin, so, and to our lovely home in Dublin. So we enjoy those outings. So the last thing we want to do now is just share with you, as Nancy mentioned there, that we've started this process of connecting with the two communities in Canada. And I'm going to invite Siobhan Griffin next to the stage. Siobhan is with Kerry County Council and is about to retire, I think, soon from Kerry County Council, but not from the project. As I said earlier, you don't get to retire from the project. But anyway, I'm going to invite Siobhan to describe to us what's going on, and then we'll connect with our colleagues in Canada who are online waiting, and they'll tell us what's happening on their side. Siobhan.
Ambassador Corlori, distinguished guests. Look, it's great to be here to update you on what has been happening since last summer. And I suppose it's really what we're looking at is what the added value for the communities in both countries, what the added value will be for having these UNESCO projects linking. And we had this really interesting discussion in this room when our friends from Newfoundland were here, from Heart's Content were here in their visit. And we explored some of those questions, just to see what projects we could sort of progress as part of this added value. And I liked what Monica said in her talk, about making things relatable for the communities and making it real. So I think that's a very important thing for both communities, that it's more than the UNESCO project. And the other thing that was mentioned about the need for process, and these things can't be hurried. There's a lot about building communications and building community. So one of the questions, why we would do these additional projects, and both agreed, I think, these combined responses, that it was important to raise the profile of both of the stories and of the community as destination. So it's just not the UNESCO project itself, it's the wider impact on the community and the story that brings. It's about strengthening the collaboration between both communities and the community partnerships, because, as the ambassador has said, last year it was lovely to meet people in person, and we built on that again this year. And that, again, brings that realness to this project. I suppose sharing the importance of the story in the wider community. You know, I mean, this cable station was lying here for so many years, and just maybe people were unaware of the significance and the, you know, like even the conference now that's going to be held in the autumn about the underwater cables, and that, you know, that there is a continuing story there, and the shared learning and supporting each other through the journey, because there can be difficulties for communities in progressing a project like this. You know, there's nothing can be gained without a little bit of pain at times, and I think that's important that the communities that shared journey is there for the communities. So some of the interesting initiatives that came out of that discussion, and it's a pity the Minister has left, I think he has, because we'd be looking for funding for some of these, but an interesting one was a comment from the Hearts Content community when they came, was that the lack of, I suppose, presence of the Hearts Content project here. I mean, there's the clock at the door, you know, which shows the time. So one of the great initiatives that is coming out, and we're working at that, is that both cable stations would install a virtual experience showcasing the partner, you know, in each. So a 360 tour maybe of the Hearts Content cable station would be shown here, and the same when people come in, that this would be part of the initiative. And like, people have gone off to start costing this at this point. There's a lot of enthusiasm. Linking local festivals using modern communications was one of the projects that came out. Telecommunications conference building on the shared history. So, I mean, there's a bit of that starting already, you know, that even today's, this session. An interesting one again is bring it outside the cable station into the community, a cable walk. You know, the panels representing the stories from the other stations. And like some of the interesting things, one of the ones in Hearts Content is a geranium festival, because the cable houses, and you know, you'd be, you know, why cable houses all had these beautiful geraniums in their window boxes, and it became, you know, it was unique, I suppose, to you know, to the particular project, and there is something that they've been building on. A simple project, but it's lovely when you think about how this could be something as part of the Valentia story. We had a lot of alcohol in this room when they were here as part of showcasing local produce. We had the vermouth, the whiskey and the wine. And so that's a local product exchange, maybe between both communities, was an initiative. We spoke about young people and older people, that they may be going into the schools, and I think that Leonard has agreed to do something, you know, a project where there could be a competition as part of the transition year, you know, in researching the project, and maybe with a prize of a visit to either Hearts Content from this side, or to Ireland from the other, to Valentia from the other. And that, on the other side, I suppose, was that 67% of the population in Hearts Content is over the age of 65, and we've comparative older profile here, and that maybe there are initiatives, and there's, you know, there are initiatives here on Valentia, but there are other initiatives we could look at through maybe the age-friendly programs or other programs that are there from the World Health Organization. So a final one was around storytelling in music and the arts, because there are huge comparisons between the traditional music. We experienced it in Hearts Content last year. So, you know, I think there's something there that could be looked at as well. So there are some of the initiatives that I think that both explored, and from our perspective, we're very happy that a full-time coordinator has been appointed to work with the community here in Valentia and Deirdre Murphy. I think this will be one of my last gigs. Maybe you'd be here next year, Deirdre. So Deirdre is here in the room, and I'd like to introduce Deirdre as the coordinator for the project going forward, because it's very, very important that this part of the work, the whole making it real, that part of it is and linking with the community and building that communications plan. So we're very excited to move along with this. So it was a great workshop, and I think we got great outcomes from it. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks, Siobhan. Now, if the technology won't let me down, we have our Tara and Clarence on the other side of the Atlantic. There we go. I'll step out of the way and say hello to Clara and Clarence. Do you want to tell us what's happening from your side of the Atlantic?
Well, today we have wind and rain, so you're welcome to have some of that if you want it. I'll just expand on what Siobhan was talking about that time, about community collaboration, and that's something that we're stressing here in Heart's Content as well. And of course, our connection with Valentia is all about collaboration and sharing our culture and all the lifestyles we have that are so similar. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for the hospitality that we got when we were there in Valentia in June, and we got to realize how our cultures and our lifestyles are so similar, actually. Well, when we look at the journey that we're on now, becoming a UNESCO World Heritage destination, it's really astounding. And I dream every day about what it's going to mean to both communities and Newfoundland and Labrador itself, and Ireland, and also the world. It's in reality, it's a win for everyone that's involved. And if you look at, the world itself and the 193 countries that we have in the world, there are only 1,199 UNESCO sites. We have the opportunity to be one of those sites. So the amount of collaboration that is there is astronomical, and we are on our way to becoming one of those. So it's a win again for everybody. In Heart's Content, what we're trying to do now is, of course, is stress everything that we need to become a UNESCO site and what we need when we become UNESCO sites in regards to businesses, and attracting them is the toughest part for us, in that we have a community of 320 people, and we only have 3 businesses that are in the community. So, most of our money that we have only comes from the tax base that we charge to people for land. It's a challenge, but we see ourselves, winning, because right now we have a UNESCO Rural Development Committee in place that involves all the funding agencies that are in Canada and Newfoundland and Labrador, and all the different corporations. We have the Mizzen Heritage Organization, the Heart's Content Community Development Corporation, when we're developing opportunity sessions, tourism sessions to promote business and tourism opportunities. And of course, now we have our Valentia Heart's Content Community Project Committee that we have in place, that we just put in place in the last month or so. And where the plan is now to meet virtually every month to explore and see how much more we can collaborate and what we can do together. So, when you look at 1866, it was a dawn of global communication. And when we look at 2829, we should be celebrating our UNESCO designation. And, I love it. Let's get it done as fast as we can. And thank you for the partnership. And now I'll pass it over to Tara.
So thank you for this opportunity, everyone. I'd also like to thank you for last night as well, for debuting the documentary that we saw as part of your celebrations. Our celebrations will happen here next week. But Lucian brought up a good point when we were in our meetings in Valentia last month, that Heart's Content and Valentia had communicated for 100 years. And then in 1966, it shut down. And then thankfully in 2013, we reignited our connection with our friends in Valentia. And that seems to have only gotten stronger over the last decade. I feel very fortunate to have visited Valentia to now get a better understanding of the other side. So throughout that meeting, we made really good headways in potential programs that we could do on both sides of our Atlantic. So myself and Lucian are in the process of working on, as Siobhan said, a 360-degree virtual tour so that the people who visit your site can visit ours as well. It's a part of our story that we need to represent on both sides of the Atlantic. And we're also talking about partnering with the school in both Newfoundland and Ireland to ensure that the kids don't lose this part of our history. It's a part of our history that we haven't really told too much over the last few years, and it's a very important part of our history. And once we become UNESCO, it'll be a part of our history that people should celebrate and be proud of. Because without Newfoundland and Ireland, they wouldn't have been able to communicate for 100 years. And we are where the world began to change in the way we communicate daily. So that's everything for me. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I know you're headed to the gala dinner this afternoon. And knowing what Vince does there, it's a great afternoon. So enjoy.
Great. So it just leaves me to say the last few words then. And again, I suppose I should thank everybody for their contributions today. Thank you for the audience for attending today. It's great to see a full house for most of the day. Our next big event, actually, I think it was mentioned a few times today, is in October. There's an international cable group coming here to hold their executive meeting. In here for the week. It's an international group of experts from around the world, from very large companies represented. And at the end of that event, we're going to hold a symposium about subsea cable resilience and security. And it will be quite bespoke in that we're limited to just the capacity of this room, which is about 85 people. But we have people coming from Africa, from the US, NATO, Department of Foreign Affairs, etc., etc. So it's very, very impressive. I was saying to somebody today that we've been sending out the invites, and I think out of the a dozen or so I've sent out so far, only one is rejected. It is not coming. So it's a hugely popular event, and we're really looking forward to a week of this event here in the cable station and between the hotel. So we leave it there. Just one little matter I would like to do before we finish. If I don't know if is John Griffin still with us? John's there. Hi, John. I'm going to embarrass you. I just want to. So John and indeed Siobhan, who is just about to retire, have been absolutely stalwarts. Particularly John, incredible, and John continues to be because, as I said, he's not left the hotel. But incredible supporters of this project. I came down last night and John was hanging up posters on a billiard board below, so it's great to see it. So just have a small little gift for both of them. Just this piece of the transatlantic cable. And so really just a small token. It's a piece of the transatlantic cable, and every time we give it to somebody, we insist that you put it on your desk or someplace prominent in the home, so when somebody comes in, they'll talk about it. So, and that has worked for connections in the past, so please do put it in a very prominent place when you take it home or to your office or work or whatever. Okay, folks, that's it. That's a wrap. We're finished just before 6 o'clock, only 5 minutes to the Angelus. And we're going to see you all, for those of you joining us for dinner tonight. We will gather at 8 o'clock in the Royal for dinner at 8:30. So look forward to seeing you all then. Thank you.